So even though it was the alternator belt that had come off, which is the one right here, in the process of coming off, it had twisted around this other belt here, which I believe controls the oil pump and the power steering. Since the twist was on the very bottom, it was actually easier for me to come at it from underneath. And so from underneath, this is actually the belt that was twisted around. Brooke had commented to me last night about how it's cool that we're learning so much about engines, but unfortunately most of it is specific to this one motorhome. So we're going to use the boost function now to link the batteries together to help start the engine. I forgot to mention before that one of the reasons why we might have been having so many problems with the alternator belt is because it was too big. This time though, we installed a smaller belt, so hopefully it'll work out better. No services are available. That's good. I don't want the government providing services for me anyway. We're driving on a road up to a ghost town, and we're currently at an elevation of about 5,700 feet. We encountered a Bureau of Land Management worker who pointed us to a closer ghost town. He said it was unmaintained, as if that was a bad thing, but personally I prefer that in my ghost towns. Oh, they're gonna attack!
When ghost cows go bad.
Today is July 1st, 2008, day 79. This is Will Buchanan reporting for the Walk for Liberty. This is the view that made me finally feel like I'm actually walking across the country. There's actually an anti-zoning sign. I think that's the first time I've ever seen one. Perhaps that's an old vehicle burial ground. That looks like a ghost cafe. When we were at the ghost town earlier today, Brooke and I were discussing how the individuals who lived there claimed their land and subsequently built their house on it. If no one had previously claimed it, were they able to simply claim it as their own and start building? Or did the government itself somehow claim de facto ownership of the land, and therefore force the individuals who wanted it to go through some kind of approval process before homesteading it or claiming it as their own? But what right does the government have to do that? After all, the government is just a group of individuals who claim to have authority over a particular geographic area. However, a group of individuals can't have any more rights than a single individual does. You are not able to claim a piece of property from afar as yours by default. So how is it that the individuals calling themselves the government are able to do that? I think the problem is that individuals in government initially claim the right as final determiner of who owns a particular piece of property, and the other individuals allowed that to occur. I can see why it happened, though. Property is a very important issue, and people want to know whether they do indeed own a particular piece of property. So at the time, it may have made sense for government, as the one organization which most people believed had final authority over them, to be the sole determiner of who owns a particular piece of property. However, government is not the only, or even necessarily the best, way of deciding that. If government gets to decide who owns a particular piece of property, then they can also levy property taxes on you for the privilege of being able to say that you own that particular piece of property. However, he who giveth can also taketh away. Because if you don't pay those property taxes, they'll take that property away from you. There is a different way, though.